Starting us off tonight at the White House. And for more on how this big an influx of American troops would happen on the ground in Iraq, we're joined by our Pentagon correspondent, Jim Miklaszewski. Jim, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. Whatever the final plan, it's not going to happen in a hurry. It'll take at least several months to get all those additional U.S. forces into Iraq. Military officials say the #1 option on the table is called 212. 2 Army combat brigades, about 7,000 additional soldiers, would soon be moved into Iraq. Another brigade would be sent to Kuwait, poised to respond to any emergency. 2 more brigades would remain on standby in the U.S. Whatever the option, military officials warn the plan would take 3 months to assemble the forces, while many experts warn it's too little too late.
Well, it's a very small surge. It's no bigger than the surges that we had twice already this year, and it didn't really help. In fact, it made things worse.
But the top U.S. ground commander in Iraq, Lieutenant General Ray Ordierno, says this time will be different. In previous operations, once American troops cleared a Baghdad neighborhood, they left, and armed militants moved right back in. Odierno says now U.S. troops will clear and remain 24/7. Another difference, U.S. forces will now go after both Shia and Sunni militias. Baghdad is heavily divided along sectarian lines. Sunni neighborhoods predominantly in the west, Shia mostly north and east. But the biggest challenge could come in Baghdad's Sadr city. General Odierno predicts this time U.S. forces would enter Sadr city to take on Iraq's most powerful Shiite militia, the Mahdi Army, and its 10,000 fighters. Critics warn that may still not be enough to stem the violence in Iraq.
It appears partly to be sending a political message, but it certainly is not sending a decisive military force.
And even with that new strategy, General Odierno predicts it'll still take 2 to 3 years for American troops to prevail in Iraq. Brian.
Jim, thanks. Jim Miklaszewski at the Pentagon. This is a risky business.